why God is frustrated with most Christians and with you too. Why is God is frustrated with most Christians and you too. Now, before I go ahead, it is my belief that most of you, maybe not all of you, but I want to hope like that. I want to hope so. I want to hope that for most people, and for you too, that if you will find out what is it that frustrates God, that what is it that brings God to frustration, that if you will discover that thing that frustrates the heart of God, that breaks the heart of God, that if you will find that thing out that breaks the heart of God and that frustrates him, that you and most Christians, I want to believe that most Christians will actually do their best to fix it. I want to believe that if you know what frustrates the heart of God, that you will do your best. I'm not talking about your own personal life now. I'm not talking about you smoking, you drinking, or you having, some quarrel with your spouse or something like that. That is not the kind of frustration I'm talking about. I'm talking about serious matters. I'm not talking about your personal relationship with people. I'm talking about just serious matter. So I'm talking about God here. I'm talking about if you get to know, and it's the same thing with real life. If you get to know, if you love somebody and care really about somebody, some of you here, if you love somebody and you care about the person you love, and you know what breaks his heart, you know what is really making him sad and what breaks his heart, I think it's just natural to want to do everything possible to rectify that thing, to correct that thing, and to stop just the bleeding of the heart of the person that is so precious to you. The same, God is precious to all of us. God is precious to all of us. God is precious to all of us. He's our love. He's our life. He's our essence. He's our core. He's our creator. He's our maker. And if God, who created all of us, upon whose life our life depends, who gives us the breath that we breathe, if this God is being frustrated by something, if there is something that breaks his heart, and you will get to know about that thing, I think that most of you will be willing to do anything possible to stop the disappointment, the disillusionment, and the exasperation that comes to the heart of God due to our lack of understanding and due to one thing or the other that we don't know or that we don't understand. So if that is so, then it will make sense for me to share this message with you today. And if that is so, this message, once you will discover that which frustrates the heart of God, I think it's going to revolutionize your life. It's going to revolutionize it because you will surely know what not to do. You will surely know what to rectify. You will surely know what to correct. And you will know what to do differently because you don't want to break the heart of the one you love. You don't want to break the heart of God. You don't want to frustrate him. You don't want to make him be disillusioned, to be disappointed, just be disappointed at every one of us. So if that is the case, most people don't know what frustrates the heart of God. And that's why I'm bringing this message to you. And most Christians that are frustrating the hand of God, they don't even know they are doing that. And they don't even know what, if anybody could just tell them what is it they need to do right. And I think most Christians will definitely say this, that if anybody could just let them know what is the thing they are doing wrong, what are the things they are doing wrong, that if Christians would know what are the things they're doing wrong and what they can do right, I think most of the Christians that I know will do anything possible to begin to please the heart of God and to actually rectify and change that thing and begin to change their life and their lifestyle as well. So that's on the premise of that. And on the basis of that assumption is why I'm saying this is going to be a life transforming message. That if we are actually as sincere as wanting to please God, as sincere as being willing and ready to do anything possible to just make his heart glad, that we are serious about doing that. If that is the case, then this message is what you need. And this message will totally revolutionize your life, change it, and make you a better Christian than you could ever imagine you could be. And it will make you to be more effective as a Christian than how you've been so far. And it will deliver you from the strangle of religion. It will deliver you from the strangle of religion. Most of us have been strangled by religion. Most of us have been deceived by religion. And religion is just suffocating us. We have just been suffocated by religion. And Christianity, some of the most dedicated Christians in the world, I mean, they are just religious, and they don't even know they are simply religious. And religiosity and religious practices they're just killing them. They're just suffocating them. And a lot of people, they are aware that things are wrong. They are aware that things are not all right. And they know that, it's not working. The church is not working the way it's supposed to work. And religion has killed the church. But they just don't know how to fix it. They just don't. Most people just keep on going to church because that's the only thing they know. That's what they've been taught. And they don't even know that they could by themselves discover God. And they could by themselves walk with God. And they could by themselves get to know the heart of God and get to please God and get to love God on their own and get to walk with God than any church could ever teach them. So I want to believe that by the time you know these things that break the heart of God today, these things that frustrate the heart of God, that you will definitely change and become a red hot, on fire Christian for God. And through you, the kingdom of God will begin to advance like never before, like you could never have imagined. Okay, here we go. So what are those things that frustrate the heart of God? What are these things that frustrate the heart of God? I spoke about some of this in the morning, but now let me speak more about this. Matthew, if you look into Matthew, I'm going to give you many points, some points, okay? If you look into Matthew chapter 6, verse 30, Matthew chapter 6, verse 30, Matthew 6:30. Matthew 6:30 says, now if God so clothes the grass of the field, if God clothes the grass of the field, which today is, and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more so clothe you? Then he finishes that verse by saying, you guys, won't I clothe you? You are human beings. You are my image. You are my likeness. You are my sons and daughters. You are my replica. You are my representative on the earth. If I would take care of birds that are nothing, of grass that are basically nothing, if I would take care of grass, I mean, you walk on grass, you walk on them, you step on them, you uproot the weed and the grass from your field every day. Birds, you shoot them down. You keep them in cages. You do whatever you want with grass. And you do whatever you want with flowers. You do whatever you want with birds. So if I would, despite that, take care of these things. Can you feel the frustration? Can you feel that frustration? Can you feel that frustration? If I would do that to all these people, if I would do that to all these things, all these things, if I would take care of flowers, grass, all these things, if I would go all the way, if I would go that distance to take care of grass, flowers. If I would go all the way to pay the price to take care of grass and flowers and birds, what do you think? What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Then he finishes that statement by saying, how much more? How much more? Think about it. Think about it. How much more? How much more? How much more will I take care of you? And then he says, with such a frustration. Can you sense? Listen, I want you to listen closely to the last thing that he says in that particular passage. What God said in that, what Jesus said in that particular passage, and where the frustration is hidden. How much more? Then he couldn't hold back his frustration anymore. He couldn't hold back his, will I say, anger? Maybe anger. He couldn't hold back his anger anymore. He couldn't hold back his emotions, his disappointment, his disillusionment, his exasperation. He couldn't just hold it back anymore. And he just vexed it out. And he said, how much more will I clothe you, O you of little faith? You are not believing me. You're not trusting me. You don't want to believe your father. You don't know me. You don't have a relationship with me. You don't trust me. What will it take you? What does it take you to just believe? It doesn't cost you money. You don't need to pay for it. Trust me. Trust me. Just trust me. Just trust me. Just trust me. Now listen closely. When we are more concerned for bread and butter, when we are more concerned about survival, 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 then putting him as the priority, his wishes, his concerns, his purpose, his goal, his aspiration, his desire. When we put survival, the need to survive, the need to make a living, I must pay my bills, I must do that, I must do this, I must survive, I must make a living. When we put that above the need to please him, to do his will, to do his will and put that as priority, God just says, I don't care. I don't even want to waste my time on you guys. Just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. Now, this is not saying that, okay, I quit my job, I quit everything, I leave everything behind, I'm not going to do anything anymore, I'm just going to stay in church. That's what we have been taught. That's what we've done. But this is not saying to quit your job, don't do anything. But this is saying, put the priority of your life, God's priority. If his priority for you is to carry out a mission here on the earth, if he has a purpose for you, which he does, if he has some calling on your life, which he does, work, but why don't you work around that? Work, why don't you put that above your work? Why don't you put your survival instinct second? Why don't you, reduce your hours at work maybe and put a tangible amount of time to fulfilling purpose, to adding value, to producing your product, to bringing solution to your world and to the thing that you are, to being, dedicating yourself to pursuing actually the kingdom first. And that's the only thing he asks for. Seek ye first the kingdom. Seek ye first the kingdom. That's the only thing. Just seek you first the kingdom and his righteousness. Once you put that, anything that places the heart of God, his desire, why he created you to the earth, is that you will do what he created you for. Why don't you put that first? Love for him, walk with him, so that you could hear his voice. You could be led by his spirit. You could follow his leading. Why don't you put that first? When you put that first, the desire to please him, to listen to him, spend time with him, the desire to discover him, solitude, just being with him, getting more, to learn more about him, get all the tapes, get all the CDs, learn as much as you could, put him first, and then reduce the time you are spending on survival. Reduce the pressure. Rather be under his leading than being under the pressure of the world. If you will put yourself more to be more dependent on his pressure, on pressure to live for him, on his leading, under his leading, under his supervision, under his obedience, total obedience to him, that puts you in a better standing than putting yourself more under the pressure of survival. Because once you come under that pressure of survival, once you are being driven, then you lose the ability to be a son of God. Because the people, as sons of God, must be led by the Spirit of God. That must be the priority. Their priority in life is not what my job will say, what my boss will say, what my leaders will say, what my company will say, what my pastor will say, what my church will say. No. Their priority is, I know God. I walk with God. He's my friend. I listen to him. I please him first of all and above all. If that will be your priority, if that will be the first thing first in your life, that is then you escape from the pressure of the world, from the pressure that makes you to be totally deaf and dumb. Because the pressure of survival is one of the greatest prison, the greatest slavery, the greatest bondage in life. When you begin to come under that pressure to survive, that pressure of survival, when you begin to come under that pressure, it's horrible. You can't hear God anymore. You can't be led by him anymore. You can't find time to do what he wants you to do. You can't put him as priority, that you want to seek him first. You want to go just take a week out and just be with him and just bask in his presence and just learn more about him. You cannot even find time to go and, invest yourself in whatever he's called you to do. You will not find time to go and invest yourself in cultivating yourself, your field, your land of promise, and to develop your own products and all that. You will not have time because your priority will be just vanity, triviality will be your pursuit. You are just under pressure all the time. Why don't you just stay and say, okay, make a covenant with God. Give him your word that I'm setting myself free from all this pressure. I'm setting myself free from this pressure, oh Lord. I am setting myself free. Help me, Lord. Because how could you say you really believe in me? Well, that's basically what God is saying. How could you say you believe in me? And survival instinct is your preoccupation. From morning till night, your preoccupation is survival. From morning to night, you are only pursuing what to eat, drink, and where to live. From morning to night, you don't even care what I care for. You don't even care for you don't even care for my passion. My passion doesn't exist for you. My passion doesn't mean anything to you. My concerns don't mean anything to you. It's just about you and how to survive in this dirty world. And the thing is, Satan and the world system that is captivating you, that is, luring you away from him, they don't tell you the truth, that you will not be here forever. The world system does not tell you that this whole thing will be lost. This whole thing will burn. It will burn down. This whole world will burn down. This whole world will go to hell. It doesn't tell you that you don't keep this world forever. It doesn't tell you that soon, only 70 years. How many years left for you to live? Not too much. And it doesn't tell you that the eternity is going to be before him. And you're going to be answering to him in eternity. So if that is the main thing that really matters in life, why don't you just stop? Why don't you tell yourself? Why don't you just promise yourself? Why don't you just speak to yourself and tell yourself the truth of God? From now on, that's what I had to do in my own life. That's what I had to do. I came to a point that I said, out of out of 4 weeks in a month, I want to give you 1 week. And I will just be with you alone. And even when things are so tight, at least I will give him three days a week when I'm just studying, listening, growing, and just developing myself, adding value to myself, discovering God, discovering what I could do for him, how I could please him better, and all that. And every day, I must give 10% of the day to growing, to being within his presence, just like you are doing now. So 2 hours a day, growing, discovering God, learning how to please him better, learning how to grow with him, and all that. So that is that is the very first thing that breaks the heart of God. That frustrates his heart. Don't put survival above God. Don't put the need to survive and make a living. Don't put the need to make a living above him, the need for him. Don't put those things above intimacy with my Father. Don't put those things above intimacy with my Father. Don't elevate those things above intimacy with my Father. Don't, please, don't. Don't. Put them where they belong. And let the love of the Father, the relationship with the Father, be paramount. Let it supersede every other thing in your life. Let it supersede every other thing. Set yourself from the pressure of survival instinct and of trying to make a living. Basically, what Jesus is saying in that place, Matthew 6:30, is if your life is all about job, salary, survival, bills, if that is what your life is all about all the time, how can you then say you believe in me when you can't even trust me to meet your needs? How can you say you know me, or you trust me, or you believe in me? You're just laughing at God. You're just mocking him. You're really just mocking him. You're really just mocking him, really. So you are telling me, I trust you, you're my God, you're my Savior, but then I don't believe you. I'm not sure that you could provide my needs. I'm not sure. I can't trust you to provide my needs. So I've got to survive. Must make a living. So, I don't know, but I believe in you. I know you are good. I don't know you are kind. I know you are a father. I know you care. I don't know if you care for me. You are embarrassing God. You are embarrassing God. You are embarrassing God. And that's why Jesus just held his head, like I could imagine it. I could see him holding his head like this and saying, "Oh, ye of little faith. Oh, ye of little. Why are you embarrassing me? Why are you shaming me before my Father? Oh, you of little faith." Anytime Jesus says that, "Oh, you of little faith," it's just, what a frustration. What a frustration. Please, reverse that tendency. Stop putting survival before my Master. Let love, trust, intimacy, relationship with him be above all and everything. Let it be above all. Let it be the number one thing in your life. And that's what he meant when he says, seek ye first the kingdom. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. Seek him. Seek to please him. Seek to discover him. Seek to love him. Seek to know him more. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. And he is guaranteeing you. Why don't you believe him for once? He says all things shall be added to you. He knows what he's saying. Why don't you just go all the way and throw yourself into his arms? Why don't you just go all the way and throw yourself in his arms? If he says it, he means it. If he says all things will be added to you, don't even dare doubt him. He does not let down the birds, and they don't even doubt him. Don't you say the birds are better than you. The reason he supplies the birds is that they don't have to worry about anything. They don't worry. If the birds are not worrying, why should you? When you stop worrying like the birds don't worry, you will see the fullness of your Father's love. When you stop caring for what you're going to eat or drink, when you stop worrying for them, like the grass and the lily and the flowers don't worry, when you could just trust him intimately and lovingly like that, you will discover that it's not a big deal for him to lead you by the green pasture. It's not a big deal for him to lead you by the green pasture. It's not a big deal for him to lead you by the green pasture. And what he says he will do, he will do. What he says he will do, he will do. Oh, when you just walk out on him, when you walk out on God, and the reason you have is, I've got to eat. I've got to survive. I've got to pay for my schools, for my children's school fees. And when that is all you've got to say, when that's all the answer you've got to for God, then I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. You break God's heart. That's one of the things that makes God to be frustrated at his people. The second thing that makes God to be frustrated, the second thing that frustrates the heart of God about Christians, is seen in the book of Matthew, chapter 8, verse 28. Matthew 8, 28. 26, sorry. Matthew 8, 26. Matthew 8, 26. Matthew 8, 26. And he says unto them, why are you fearful? You see, another frustration coming forth. You see that frustration breaking forth from the heart of the Father. God is saying, again, my God, again. Here you come again. Here you are again, you Christians. Here you are again. And what is this situation here? And he said unto them, why are you fearful? Again, O ye of little faith. Whenever we fear, whenever we are controlled by fear, whenever we are controlled by fear, whenever we are controlled by fear, whenever we allow fear to dominate our lives, whenever we allow fear to control our lives, the first thing was worry. Survival instinct. The second thing is fear. These are the things that frustrate the heart of God, that breaks the heart of the Father. Why should you allow I am in your life? Can you believe that for once? Can you for once believe that I'm in your life? Can you for once believe me? Can you for once trust your life into my hands? Can you for once just trust me? Can you for once just believe in me? Can you just draw closer to me and trust me like that 2-year-old baby girl who cuddle the hand, the thigh and the legs of the father, like that 2-year-old baby girl and 1-year-old baby boy will cuddle the leg of the father or the mother, or like they will cuddle to the chest of the father or the mother and just hang on there with absolutely protected. Can you do that with me? Your kids are doing that with you. They cuddle you to your neck and to your breast and hang on there and see you as their protection and see you as their protector and see you as their guarantee, their protection, their insurance, their protection from fear, from worry, from all kind of concerns. Why can't you do that with me? Am I not bigger than you? Am I not bigger than you? Am I not more trustworthy than you? Am I not more reliant than you? Am I not more reliable than you? Am I not much more faithful than you? That is why I'm frustrated at the kind of churches we have today. We're all going to churches, but churches don't teach us to know Him. And when we don't know Him, we cannot trust Him. When we don't know Him, we cannot trust Him. We only know the pastors these days. We only know the churches' names and denominations these days. We only know the men of God these days. We don't know Him. We don't know the Master. You need to get to discover Him in such a personal way that it will be so easy for you to trust Him. And I tell you, it's so easy to trust Him. It's so easy to trust Him. It's so easy to trust Him, believe me. It's so easy to trust Him. Why don't you just close your eyes and imagine how that little baby crossed to you? That little boy cross across the room and hold on to your leg. Or that little girl, how she climbs your breast and your arm and just sit in your arm while you are watching your TV or you are eating on the table, and he's just protected. She's just protected. Why can't you trust Him like that? Why can't you just trust Him that way? Why can't you see yourself as that little baby? Crawling up his thigh, crawling up his chest, and just hanging out there. Yeah, can you see the innocence in the eyes of those kids at 1 year old, 2 year old? Those innocent eyes, just, totally believing, absolutely reliant on the faithfulness, on the protective energy of the father or the mother. And I'm so frustrated that churches now present more of religion than they present God to us. Churches now represent more of tradition, more of activities, more of money mongering, more of tradition and some horrible practices than teaching believers how to just trust, how to just know, how to just follow, how to just believe. There is no reason for you to entertain fear, ever, ever. Please, can you believe it? That I don't even know the name of fear. People around me will tell you, I don't even know what fear feels like anymore. God has helped me to trust Him so totally, so absolutely, that I don't ever entertain fear. I don't even know how it feels anymore. I don't know how it feels anymore. I used to have a lot of them, but I don't anymore. I don't. They could come to attack sometimes, but I don't accept it. I'm not driven or led by fear anymore. Total reliance on the one that loves you more than anyone, that loves you more than your mother, that loves you more than your daddy, that loves you more than your lover, that loves you more than anyone else. He is the only one that you could really absolutely trust at the end of the day. There is no other human that you could trust like Him. So why fear? But when we fear, we break the heart of God. When we fear, we break His heart. It doesn't matter what the reason is. Don't tell me the reasons. Don't tell me what the problems are. Don't tell me the challenges. Don't tell me stories. Don't tell me the tales. It doesn't matter what the tales are. It doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't depend on that. Only one thing will eliminate any fear. A true trust. A true trust. If you would truly trust Him. If you would truly trust Him. If you can truly trust Him. He will deal any fear will be dealt with. If you really trust Him. It doesn't matter what the situation is. It doesn't matter what the threats are. It doesn't matter how horrible the threats are. The fears are. It doesn't matter how horrible the threats are. If you will really just trust Him totally. Burn the bridge kind of trust. Burn the bridge kind of trust. God's heart would not need to be broken continuously on the account of you. God's heart does not need to be broken on the account of your lack of trust. These are things that break the heart of God. These are things that break the heart of God. So he says, why are you fearful? Why are you fearful? Why? And that word is not directed at the apostles or the people who are living in the times of Jesus anymore. Those words are directed at you now. And God is telling you the same thing. And he's asking you. You don't really. And the reason the way he's asking that question, you can get what he's trying to say. You don't really have a reason to be. That thing you are thinking is fearful. That thing you are thinking is a concern. That thing that you are really thinking that is troubling you, that is a reason to really be concerned. Really, it's not a reason. Really, it's not a reason. Really, there is no need. There is no need. There is no what. There is no what. There is no need to fear at all. There is no need to fear. So what God is saying, why are you fearful? There's no. When you compare God, the greatness of God, the bigness of God, to the size of your challenge, God is always bigger. God is always much more mightier, much more bigger than any challenge you might be facing. So there is really no reason. There is really no reason for you to be fearful. There is really no reason. So he said, well, so what is it that could cause you to fear when I'm here? What is it that could cause you to fear when I'm alive? When God is not dead, when I'm not dead? What is it really that could cause that fear when I told you I'm there for you? Why are you fearful? Are you fearful of men? So you now rate men to be more powerful than me. You now rate men to supersede me in influence and power. You now raise men above God. Of course, that will frustrate the heart of God. That is enough to break the heart of the Father. So it says, why are you afraid? Or are you afraid of poverty, the economy, catastrophe? So you are actually exalting the things of this world, like catastrophe, economy, politics, nation. You are thinking that those things are more powerful than the God who created them. What are you saying? I mean, think about what you're saying. What are you saying? What are you saying? What are you saying? What are you saying? Will you even repeat that to yourself? I mean, it's so irresponsible to even think that. So what are you fearful of? What can you be fearful of in this world? No reason for anything. Nothing really should drive you to fear. Nothing really. So he said, why are you fearful? Oh, ye of little faith. So God's heart again is broken and he's again frustrated. He said, why? They claim to be my children. Look at them. They claim to be my children. They don't give me the credit. But they don't give me the credit. And that is talking about you and most Christians. We don't give him any credit or honor. We don't trust him. We don't trust him. We don't even give him the honor of relying on him, of rather believing in him, or trusting him. We don't even give him that honor. Of course, that breaks the heart of God. Would that change from today? Would that change, guys? Will you make sure that changes, that will change in your life? Will you make sure that changes in your family? I think you should. You should make sure that changes. Change that. Promise yourself that you will know God. You will pay the price of intimacy to know him so well, so closely, to trust him so absolutely that you will not need to fear for anything ever. Many people come on this platform and they wonder, why are you so bold, Pastor? Why are you not afraid? Are you not afraid of this? Because I now discover the Christianity that we practice is based on fear. People, even many strong men of God, well-meaning people, they say, are you not afraid of this? Are you not afraid of that? We are now used to being afraid of even church people. We are afraid of pastors. We are afraid of church members. We are afraid of brothers and sisters. We are afraid of, our Christianity is now more based on faith anymore. We are afraid of witches. We are afraid of wizards. We are afraid of relatives. We are afraid of family members. We are afraid of, enemies. We are afraid of envy. We are afraid of Our Christianity has just totally eliminated faith. As if God is dead. As if everything now depends on instances or chances or occurrences or tragedies. As if God is totally out of control. As if he does not rule in the affairs of men anymore. We've just bringing shame and disgrace to God. And these are the things that break his heart, that frustrate the heart of God. And these are the reasons why God is more frustrated about Christians and about you too. And I think I blame the churches, and I blame the churches that churches are not teaching intimacy. Churches are not teaching personal relationship with people, with God. They would rather teach loyalty and obedience. They would rather teach, no, don't be a rebel. Don't do this, don't do this. They would rather teach law. They would rather teach sin. They would rather teach anything but intimacy. They would rather teach how long your skirt should be, how long your makeup, how clear, how loud your makeup can be, and how long your dress can be. They would rather be teaching all those mundane, earthly things. They would rather be teaching you about sex, that you should not sleep around, you should not look at this, you should not wear this. They would rather meddle in the business that is not theirs than really teaching you what they are here for. Churches are not here. It's not church's business to be measuring the length of your skirt. It's not any church's business to be measuring the length of your blouse. It's not anybody's business. They're supposed to teach you to know God. And once you know God, you will not have to struggle with that anymore. Anybody that knows God knows well how to dress to please God. The church is just, they would rather preach about money. They would rather be preaching morality and money and all kind of mundane secondary stuff than the things that really matter. Because I think that if the church has done a better job teaching intimacy, personal walk with God, how to really be close to God, and how to really love him, and just walk with him. If the church could have taught every Christian that, my, there would be nothing like fear. There will be nothing like running after bread and butter anymore. We will be trusting our Heavenly Father for everything. And we will be loving on him. And he will be meeting our needs readily and easily. So he says, what is it that you are afraid of? Why are you afraid? What is it that you are afraid of? O ye of little faith. Then he arose and rebuked the thing they were afraid of. You see, he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. It's not a big deal for him. No matter what it is you are afraid of, God is over it many, many times. He's over and above that fear. He's over and above that situation. He's over and above that crisis. He's over and above that problem. He's over many times over and above that concern that you have. God is many, many times over and above it. It's easy. It's a second thing for him to change everything, to turn around the situation. It's a little thing or the insignificant thing for him to turn everything around in your favor. Why don't you just trust him? Why don't you just trust him? If I perish, like Esther did. He said, if I perish, I perish. I would rather trust. If I perish, I perish. The worst thing that could happen is death. If I perish, I perish. But I would rather trust him. And I would rather perish trusting him than doubting him. Because if God cannot save you, no one can save you anyway. If God cannot deliver you, no one can help you. Don't live in fear. God will rebuke the situation if you only trust him. God will rebuke that situation. He will rebuke that circumstances. He will turn everything around if you could just let him know you trust in your Father. That's you trust in. If you could just put your head on that his neck, if you could just put that your head upon his shoulder, if you could put that your leg upon his chest and just be rest assured in him. If you could just put your head upon his shoulder and be rest assured, you will know that really, no reason for fear. No reason for fear. No reason for fear. No reason for fear. So these are the things that make God's heart broken. What frustrates God's heart. So God is frustrated when, despite our walk with God, we are still walking in fear. When we are walking more in fear than we are walking with God. When we are walking more in fear than we are walking in trust. When we are walking more in fear than we are walking in faith. When we are walking more in fear than we are walking in love. God is frustrated. That frustrates the heart of God. That we claim to know him. We claim to know his name. We claim to be praying. Some people go to church from morning till night. They still live in fear. Some people read the Bible every day. They still live in fear. Some people listen to preachers all the time. They still live in fear. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. So, this situation, notice that it was the fear that stopped Peter. You remember in another situation, there was a similar situation whereby Peter, actually it was this situation, Peter was, when he began to fear, he began to drown. He began to go down. He began to get drowned. It is our fear that is drowning us. What is drawing you? What is drawing you down in you? Or was it drown? What was the word? Drawing you? What's making you to drown? Drown? Yeah, drown. What is drowning you? What is drowning you is the fear. It is not the water that is drowning you. It is the fear that is drowning you. It is not the fear. It is not the water that is taking you down. It is the fear that is taking you down. In any situation you are in as well, it is not the situation that is going to kill you. It is not the situation that is drowning you. It is not the situation that is devastating you. It is not the situation that is killing you. It is not the situation that is drowning you. It is not the situation that is drowning you. It is the fear that is drowning you. It is the fear that is drowning you. When there was no fear, Peter was walking right on that same water. Right on that same water. Right on that same water. The fear will always drown you. Any fear will always drown you. Instead of being attached to fear, some of us are married to fear. That's why you are being drowned continuously under your situation, under your circumstances, under your troubles. Get your divorce certificate today from fear. Get your divorce certificate from fear. Break your covenant with fear once and for all. Let heaven come down. Let the sky come down. Let everything that needs to happen. Let everything break. Let everything. In fact, some of you are not even sharing this my message because you are afraid somebody will say it. Some of you are afraid of sharing this my message, even though you want to hear the message, but you cannot share it because you are fear. You are being addicted to fear. You've been under the bondage of fear, and God is setting you free right now. Right now, I'm sensing the anointing. God is setting you free right now. And you have to tell yourself, fear will not drown me anymore. I will not be drowned by fear. I will not be drowned by fear anymore. And my covenant with fear is broken today. Today, I am set free. Can you imagine some people don't get a copy of these messages because they cannot go and share it. They are afraid of sharing it because they are afraid of people getting to know about it. Some people cannot even say they listen to Pastor Sunday because they are afraid of saying it. But now, let heaven come. Let sky come down. Let anything happen. You know you are no more afraid because you know him. Let me tell you something. It doesn't matter who else. It doesn't matter who is for you if God is not for you. But let me tell you another thing. It doesn't matter who is against you. It doesn't matter who is not for you as long as God is for you. So it doesn't matter who you displease as long as you please God. It doesn't matter who you displace. And if you've been following me and you've been listening to me, you will know that that's how I live my life. I say anything. I say everything. I express myself. And my only primary concern is that I please him. If I could please him, it doesn't matter who I displease. If I please him, it doesn't matter who I offend. But if you offend him, then it doesn't matter who you please. If you don't please him, it doesn't matter who you please. You can please the whole world. You are still a loser. So divorce. Get rid of fear in your life. Give a certificate of divorce to fear. Get rid of fear. Get rid of that fear. Get rid of fear. Be human again. Be yourself again. Be God's child again. Trust in your Father. Be a loving child again. And that's what it says here. So, it was fear that was drowning Peter. And fear is drowning people today. And fear will drown you today. Fear stops everything. And it is not Satan that is stopping you. And it's not Satan that is drowning you. It is fear. I told the story of Christians, afraid of witches and wizards. I don't know if you are aware of that. Many Christians are afraid of witches and wizards. Many Christians are afraid of demons. Many Christians are afraid of curses. Many Christians are afraid of evil eyes. Many people are afraid of so that nobody will do anything for them, curse. Nobody will curse them. Many people are afraid of enemies. And witchcraft and black magic, occultism, all that. You know why those things work? And they work. They do work. Satan could be devastating. And witchcraft could be devastating as well. But the way and the reason they work and to whom or against whom they work only against those who fear them. They work only against those who entertain fear. Right, for example, let me just prove this to you with one little example. Do you know that all of Africa, up to now, is immersed in witchcraft? And we all believe that there are so many powerful witch doctors and witchcraft, black magic people in Africa. Do you believe that? Yeah, I think so. I believe it. But, listen to this example. When the British people, white British, came with machine guns and artilleries, when they came with artillery and machine guns to Africa, they conquered not just all the witchcraft. They, in fact, took all their artifacts, all their witchcraft stronghold, all their witchcraft house. They just walk, ordinary people, just ordinary British soldiers, Scottish people, Irish people. They just walk into all those witchcraft people. And those are the places, the shrines and the bushes where the indigenous people for 300 years, 1,000 years, nobody could step in there. Before you could step into those shrines, you have to do sacrifices, even human sacrifices, animal sacrifice, before they could even allow you to go there. But the white people, even their women, the white women will just just walk into those shrines and say, what are these dirty things? Oh, these are the shrines. They don't know they are gods. Those are the things that people were saying, they are God. Orisha, God of the Shago, Orisha, don't touch it, it will come fire. Nothing fire, anything. All the white people will just go there and everybody just picking anyone they want. They will pick the head of this one, they will pick this one, they will pick this shrine, they will move this god. They just began to move all the gods and move all of them to Europe and move all of them as decoration. Nothing happened to anybody. And to make evil things worse, they took even the babalawos, the shrine people, the witches and wizards, they just could put them in handcuffs and put them in the ship and we ship them away. All the witches and wizards, they just pack them in prison, that's all. Nothing worked. Nothing worked. Nothing worked against them. You know why it doesn't work out there? And we have a saying, even in Africa, in my language up to now, that black magic doesn't work against white people. The reason why it doesn't work because they don't believe in it. They don't believe in the rubbish nonsense. But today, we believe in Jesus. We say we believe in Jesus. And these white people don't even believe in anything. They don't believe in Jesus or anything. They just came there and just took tourism as tourist gift, what they call it, souvenir. The thing they are calling souvenir is the God of the ancient fathers of Benin. You know, do you know that up to today, the Benin kingdom, they are still returning some of their artifacts. And those artifacts, they are the gods. So those are the gods. They became souvenirs in some family there, family there. And they were even putting them in the market and auctioning them away. And the Oba of Benin himself, the one who is the hero, they took the guy and put him in prison, lock him up somewhere. Anybody who tried to do anything, they just lock them up. Why? Witchcraft don't do anything until you fear. It is fear that drowns. It is fear that drowns. It is fear that stops. It is fear that empowers Satan. It is fear that empowers witchcraft. It is fear that empowers evil. Your fear of it is what gives it power over you. It is your fear of evil that gives evil power over you. It is so all those things that churches are doing in Nigeria, praying against everyday warfare, spiritual warfare, fasting 30 days, 40 days, 7 days, just to defeat Satan. Rubbish. The only thing you need to defeat Satan is in my name. Your authority, not the name itself, not just saying my name something, but the authority, the what Christ has done, the death, the life, death, resurrection of the Lord Jesus Christ. That's the only thing you need to defeat Satan. And if you are not aware of that, it's a shame. It's a shame.